Hello everyone, I am Jack and I'm back. And here's a project I'm working on. So I mentioned previously about Pepakura. Let me go ahead and show you what it is. So let me explain that what it does, it takes a 3D model and converts it into flat plane, and then you can cut it out and glue it together to make a 3D model out of paper. So let's go ahead and we'll take the simplest one. We'll take their example. So there is a sports car 3D model, and then there is what it looks like flattened and unfolded. So now what I do is I go over here and go to 3D model, go down to folding, unfolding animation. Now it's Control-Shift-A is a shortcut, but I don't remember shortcuts because I use so many different software packages. So I go ahead and say, hey, why don't you animate how this thing works? So it explodes it, and then here's the play. So if I hit the play, it shows you how that exploded thing folds and assembles and glues together to make the 3D model. And then it goes off and unexplodes it. So this is handy once you've got all the pieces and you're trying to figure out what goes where or how it goes. This can help. Now, let's go off and close this, and I will open my own file, which happens to be a 57 Corvette. And it's just the front end. And so auto detection. And then it goes in and simplifies the model. It says, hey, it's got too many pieces that don't need to be there. All right. Too many faces. There we go. So then it loads it and shows the 3D model the way it came in. It's asking flip faces. I don't know what the consequence of that is, so I'm going to say no flip. And then it says, all right, fine, here is what I am going to call the front. Is that the front? If it's not, you could pick one of the other faces to be the front based on color, but that's what I want to be the front. And then it says, which one is the bottom? And I look, and once again, it did correctly pick the bottom. So I'll hit next. And there it is. And so do you want to invert the model? Again, I have no clue what would happen if I inverted it, but I'm going to click no. All right, and so it merged all the triangles, edges, and there's my end result. Now, I have the ability here to change the scale to whatever I want it to be. For this demonstration, I'm just going to leave it alone. And then it gives me the X, Y, and Z dimensions in millimeters. Okay, so now I'm going to do the exact same thing with this. Go in, oh, it doesn't want to do that. Wonder what? Oh, I have to unfold it first. There we go. So there's the unfold button, and I have it on auto, so it'll automatically do it. There we go. Now that's all of the pieces required to make that. You can see there's a lot more. They purposely on theirs picked a simple model, kind of blockish. This one has a lot of different curves, so it has a lot of different pieces. So how do you figure out what goes where? Well, that's one of the nice things is if I click on, let's say this fender right here, which piece over here is the fender? So I click on it. There we go. And if I look over here, there is a red outline on that one right there. So that lets me know that when I cut that out and fold it up, that's the piece that's going to end up. So I can do that with all of this. There's the hood vent over there. It's hard to, on my, there we go. It's right there. That's the hood vent. The hood itself Click on it, and there's that center part of the hood. Click on that. So you can see I can go through the whole model piece by piece. And then there's that front nose right there. You can see that's across the front. And then it also includes the sides. And then I can take the mouse button and move this around and see where that goes. You can do the opposite as well. So if I see this and I go, what the heck part is this? I click on it and I look over here and it highlights what that piece is. So that's the piece in between the hood and the windshield, and then the pieces that go along the side as well. So let's see. So what I did was I had all of this, took all of this, and I had it printed to the scale I wanted. I wanted a 4-foot model, 4 foot wide, I think. Yeah, 4 foot wide. It ends up being 3 foot deep and about 3 foot tall, approximately, or whatever. So once I've done that, then I went out and had it printed, and they could only do it in paper. I would have wanted it in something stiffer like cardstock or something like that, but they just couldn't print something that big in cardstock, the shops I called locally. So I said, I'll go ahead and try it in paper and see what happens. And this is what happened. This is the front fender and headlight. So you can see there's the headlight. And you can see that because it's paper, it's pretty flimsy, but I can come in from the back and push it. So I just used Elmer's glue for most of them, but in some cases there were edges that just butted up against each other with no tab. What it does is it makes tabs, and you can change the size, shape of the tabs. So you can see right here, there's the piece, and the dotted lines are where you fold it. The solid lines are where you actually cut it. So if we look at this, it gives me the general idea. I'm going to have to do some stuff to stiffen it up and round it and all that stuff, but it's a start. So my goal is to take this, put some kind of framework underneath it. I will probably use foam. What do they call it? I forget what it's called. Anyways, the thin foam sheets that you can get. I get them at Walmart. Okay, and let's see. So then I said, well, what do I need next? And so I looked at the model and said, well, I want to get this front area here. So right there. So I click on this and I come over here and I see, there's the piece. Now, the deal with Pepakura is that it does not save the model when you use the free version. May or may not matter to you. Where it will matter is that if you shut it down and you recut it, it may not cut exactly the same, which is what happened here. So it did not cut the same. It used to be $40, now it's up to $70. But if you're going to use this much, it's definitely worth paying the money so that you don't have to redo this and end up with a model that doesn't match what you got printed. All right, so I found that. This doesn't look exactly like it. On the other one, it does. And if you look, that is the piece. So I roughly cut it out, and then I'll have to go back in and cut it. It's tedious to cut this and fold it, so I didn't do it. Exactly, I'm going to do it. So it took about an hour to cut that one out. I don't remember if that included folding it or not. I don't think it did. So let's say an hour to cut it out and then an hour to fold it. So it is time consuming, but the alternatives are a lot of money. All right. Now, one of the things I learned when I did that is the tabs are important. You can change the size of the tabs. I thought I bumped them up, but apparently I didn't bump them up as much as I wanted to or should have done. But what I found was when I was folding it, it's like, okay, is this an edge that doesn't have a tab or is this the tab? So what I did was, after I rough cut it, I went in and put marks everywhere where it is a tab, so that when I cut this out, I will know that those are tabs, and they end up gluing to something else. So all along here, you can see the marks. Where this comes in is, if you look, this whole edge. The other thing is, it didn't print out as dark as I would have liked. It's awfully light print. I don't know how to fix that. I thought I widened the print in Pepakura before I had it printed out, but it came out light. It came out light on the screen. I thought, oh, well, maybe it won't be as light in real life. Well, if you use it, whatever you see on the screen is what you're going to get on the paper. So again, I wish these would have been darker. But if you look, you can see right there is a tab. And the way I know it's a tab is because of the V there. So wherever I saw a V, I said, okay, that thing must be a tab. And it folds there. And eventually it's going to fold there. That's got to be cut all the way to there. I didn't cut it. And then this dotted edge will line up with that solid line all the way across here. So this will fold and come up like that. So again, I've got about an hour of going in and cutting this, and then an hour of gluing it together. And then I will have part of that front end as a 3D assembly. So I'm hoping that when I glue this piece to that piece to the next piece, it will take better shape than that right there. May not, but again, I'm going to go ahead and try to straighten it out with the foam board and hot glue. I did put tape on the backside, which is also why this is not flat as it was, because when I taped it, I wasn't ultra careful. And if you don't tape it exactly, it's going to have wrinkles. So let's go to the back side. And my hope is the tape would make it stiffer. I do have some packing tape. I was just using Scotch tape. I do have some packing tape, and maybe that, or maybe even just masking tape, just something that's going to give it a little more thickness and stiffness. So you can see that I can go in and push this down and get rid of at least some of the wrinkles. So it's going to be a combination of doing that, coming to the back side. And you can see right there is an edge where that two edges meet, but there wasn't room to do tabs. So there's a little bit of a gap there. If I had been more careful gluing it, I would have pulled this forward a little more, because there is a tab right there. And then that would have closed that gap. But I was just trying to get it done quickly. And then back here, I just used tape because it tapers in. Something weird is going on right here. I don't know what it is. And this is where the $70 would have come in, because I could look at it and see, oh, how in the world does that thing make whatever it makes? I know there's a inset on the sides, what I call a toe. That's probably what that is. So let's go to the model and see. So if you turn this around and look right there. Oh, it's hard to tell on this. But anyway, this area right here is curved in. So at some point it has to make that edge and make that curve. And I suspect that's what's going on there. But you can't really tell in this picture, but in real life, there you can kind of see. Yeah, there we go. See how it's got that curve right there? Well, that's got to come in to make that curve, and I'm thinking that's where that is. It's at this front edge. See right there, you can see some triangles there. That's probably what I'm seeing. All right, so if you look, there we go. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, or 1, 2 triangles there. Come over and look, and sure enough, there's some triangles there, and right there. So this thing folds in or out or what, I'm not sure. And I could have ended up gluing something wrong here. So again, that's why I marked the tabs, so that will help me to make sure I glue things correctly. But I'm pretty sure I did. Okay, well, that's what I've got for now. I'm going to go ahead and make the next piece. And this may be a failed experiment where I decide, you know what, for the amount of time and effort that it takes, it's not worth it. But also, like I said, the alternative is very expensive to have it done some other way. All right, so like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks. Oh, and people are saying 3D printing. The reason I don't 3D print it is it would take a week solid of running a 3D printer to print this out. And I'm thinking I can do this in a day if I just did this. I work on it sometimes and then stop other times. So I'm thinking at the end of a day, I could have this thing done. Maybe 2 days, but I don't want to wait a week to get something 3D printed because this is just a prototype. In either case, whichever one I do, I would end up covering it with fiberglass, either making a mold or a prototype from it. But the plastic one would it would help me at first, but in the end result, I think it would actually take more time and definitely take more money. It was $45 to get all of this printed out. So again, it's an exchange between time and money. Your choice. All right, like, subscribe, hit the alert, hit the thanks if you want to donate. And if you don't like what I'm doing, you don't know Jack. Bye.